Hey there everyone, this is Adamantium here again. This is a video describing the what if scenario. Right now it's 28 minutes past 3 in the morning. I'm sat here in my room, wide awake while most people are sleeping. And I'm just reminding myself how isolated I am and how limited I am to do anything, because right now I don't want to be sat in a little room in the middle of Kent, you know. I want to be interacting with people, you know, during daylight hours. You know, I don't want it to be night time at the moment. So, you know, I've thought about, you know, what if we lived in a resource-based economy right now? What would I have to do? What would I need to do in order to achieve that goal? Well, right now, since we live in a monetary based economy, I would need a hell of a lot of money. First of all, I'd need to call a taxi, because it's now 3:30 in the morning. There are no public transport systems around. I don't have access to a car. My legs will take me hours to get to anywhere, and even then, you know, it will probably take about 4 hours to walk anywhere. By then it will be 7, 8 in the morning. So it seemed like a bit of a pointless exercise. So what would I need to do if this was a resource-based economy? What would be possible? Well, there are many things that can happen. One of the scenarios that I have going through my head is that I can go on my laptop and I could type in the website for the local, let's call it the Zipcar service, any automated rental car service. You basically go to the website, find out if there's any Zipcars in your area. We'll call, for the sake of argument, for the sake of brevity, we'll just call them Zipcars for now. They're like automated taxis in a sense. I mean, this sort of thing has been spoken about before, but you'll find out where the nearest one is in your area, and say for example I put in my postcode, for example, if there is going to be postcodes. I dare say there will be postcodes in a resource-based economic model. Type in my postcode and it will come up with, because all the Zipcars will have tracking chips in them, so the distribution centre will know exactly where every single one of their Zipcars are. So, you know, it will be able to say, all right, there's one 20 minutes away, and if you like, we can redirect it towards you. So if you say yes, they'll say, right, okay, well the car will be with you in 20 minutes. Would you like to enter your phone number here, so a notification text can be sent to your phone when the car arrives? Like, yeah, all right, we'll put my phone number in, and then it says, right, the Zipcar will be with you in 20 minutes. Here is click this link if you want to track the car's movements in real time via satellite or whatever. but otherwise, the car will be with you the car will be outside your residence in 20 minutes. Be sure that you're ready when it arrives, and basically I can get whatever I want together, as long as it's not like a huge amount of stuff. And in a resource-based economic model, you won't really need a huge amount of stuff anyway. But I can take my laptop, I can take my camera, and my like if I wanted to do some megaphoning, in somewhere where I'll tell you in a minute. But yeah, I can get that stuff together, and wait for it, and then I get a text on my phone. Diddle-it, diddle-it, diddle-it. That was a very poor. That was a very poor message tone notification. Diddle-it, diddle-it. You never know. Someone might have a text alert like that, and then it says, the zip car is directly outside. Come and get it. In a sense, and basically just even though it's like by then it will be 10 to 4 in the morning. I can go out of my residence along the little street, jump in, and there are two different ways that I can do this now. I can either ask to be taken directly, because I mean sometimes I think to myself whether the different regions of countries. I mean, let's say for example, let's arbitrarily and temporarily agree that right now the different sectors that have different distribution centres for zip cars are allocated by county. So you have like a Kent distribution centre, and Kent has its own allotted zip cars, and when you get to, like, say for example, when you want to go county to when you want to travel into counterly, if that's a word, if you want to travel nationally, then you'll need to basically ask the direct the zip car to the distribution centre of the neighbouring county in the direction which you want to travel. Now that is if you want to travel by just by zip cars. There is another and then you get I'll detail this little scenario. En route, you can I don't know, set it to go to automatic drive, autopilot in a sense, or you can pilot it yourself. I mean, there's one thing that people have asked me that will all cars drive? How do you suppose that doesn't take the joy away from driving? I share that notion. I myself love the experience of driving, so I will only, if I lived in a resource-based economy, and if I was in one of these zip cars, I would only set it to go onto autopilot if absolutely necessary. Like, say for example, if I needed to look something up, or I needed to do something, in the car, but otherwise I would be driving, or if I was slightly sleepy or tired or something, the pod car would be able to have sensors to be able to tell, from a person's body language and eye movement and breathing and that sort of stuff. They'll be able to tell, you are tired. We will take over. We will engage autopilot. I don't think that that should be a matter of choice. If you're tired, if you're really that tired, then you won't mind the car saying, "Do you know what? I'll drive." I mean, some people, granted, they will be like, "No, I'm going to drive," and then cause an accident because they're too tired and they fall asleep at the wheel. But that's not productive, so the car should be able to. But anyway, I can set it to go to autopilot in a sense, and then maybe the zip car, because it is a zip car. It should have like this little console in there where you can basically look up you can call up the Zipcar website or some kind of interface where you can communicate with the neighbouring distribution centre and ask them, do you have any cars available, and and if so, could you reserve one? If they have any zip cars there that are not reserved, then they basically say, right, we will reserve one of our cars for you, and if they're and if not, then we will have one returned to the distribution centre for your arrival. How far are you away from the distribution centre? You can call up on a second screen on the zip car itself, or even like a little display in the corner where it says, because you're already travelling to the destination. It should be able to estimate how long it will take you to get to this distribution centre, so you'll have a little dial on there saying you are 24 minutes away, so you'll say I'm 24, but you might not even have to put this in, this sort of thing. It's even, you see, even me fleshing out this scenario, I'm using present day thinking when so much of it can be automated. You can basically just punch a few buttons and then but I'm describing the process by using our current methods. But I think with most of what I've described, it won't really need your input, because you, like, say for example, you won't need to tell, like, say for example, if I'm going north up the country, then from the Kent distribution centre, in my zip car in Kent, I will need to communicate with the London distribution centre. Now, being the capital city, it will be, it's hard to tell. Will London still be considered a capital city? Because it's definitely not central geographically to the country. I mean, some place like Manchester, I don't know exactly, I mean, is Derby. Will Derby considered the new capital city because it's central geographically to the country? But that's aside. But no, I mean, in our current thinking, we would, while I was in the car, I would need to communicate with the London distribution centre and ask them, do you have a car available? And they'll be able to get one available for me and say, oh, you're 24 minutes away. Well, the nearest available zip car will get to the distribution centre in 30 minutes. So do you mind waiting? Well, it won't necessarily ask you, do you mind waiting 6 minutes? It will just say there, just to inform you, there will be a 6 minute delay between you arriving at the London distribution centre and your new zip car arriving. So you'll have to find something to do for 6 minutes. But things will be, efficiency will be sought after so much all the time, that people will try and find, people who use the service will be able to interface and say, it was a brilliant service and all that sort of stuff, and if they see any suggestions where they can say, well, is there a way you can tweak this to make it more optimal, and but that's, I mean, and then you can repeat the whole thing from the London distribution centre. You can go to the next distribution centre, and you can go from distribution centre to distribution centre. That is if you wanted to travel by a zip car. Now that that it's not the most optimal way to travel. So what you would do is you would same thing of like, sitting in my room, calling up the zip car. That would arrive. I'd get in there, and I would ask it to take me to the nearest maglev station, and get to the maglev station. I don't know exactly how the maglevs are going to operate on a time scale basis. I don't know what sort of timetables maglevs are going to operate on. Hopefully they'll operate 24/7. But now I'd be able to just hop on a maglev, and I'd be able to go to the other side of the planet in a matter of hours. Whereas my legs would be able to take me to the nearest city in a matter of hours, and even then I'd just be standing in the nearest city to where I live, and everyone's going to work in the current system. But in an RBE, I'd be able to, I don't know, go, but essentially, but you'd be able to just backpack in a sense. You'd be able to go where you want and do what you want. And you know what? All that wonderful stuff that I've described, that you'd be able to go wherever you want, whenever you want. That right now in a monetary system, that is only possible if you have a lot of moolah. If you have a lot of moolah, a lot of money. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. Right now I only have about 50 quid spare. It would cost me that much money to get anywhere substantial, and that would only be one way. So, don't you see how money's holding us back? Don't you see how the very idea of having a monetary system is always holding us back? Because how many of you have never seen anything outside of your country? How many of you haven't even seen anything outside your county? Now this is for my fellow English people, but for extrapolate that out to like states in the America. How many of you have only seen things within your own state? It's ridiculous how limited we are and how bound we are, because if we want to go anywhere or do anything, then we need to shovel out money to other people to provide that service. It shouldn't be required. It shouldn't be required to have to pay out for things like that, and it's ridiculous. It really is ridiculous. So that's another reason why I advocate a resource-based economic model, because when I think about what if, I think that instead of sitting in my room, at what is now nearly like 12 minutes to 4 in the morning, instead of that and thinking I should get some sleep, because everyone else is asleep, instead of that I could travel the world. Money's holding us back. You need to get rid of it. Okay? Get rid of the need for it. Take care.